Hey there, future me. We're currently really deep into a Monday morning. The sun's about to come up in I don't know, probably like a little over an hour or so. But and we should be asleep, but we're here anyways. I told myself I was, gonna get an audio in before I went to sleep, and I was really thinking of just, going to bed, but I've found myself unable to go to sleep in this particular moment, so we might as well bang an audio out, and hopefully that'll make us like tired enough to want to call it afterwards, right? Anyhow, it's currently September, so although like last time we were a little bit over a month, and this time we're a little under a month, so ooh, improvement. I know, crazy. So that's cool. Um, but yeah, like what's happened over like the past almost month. The office move has been completed. We now have, I forget if I mentioned this last time, but we got the walls painted, sick. We got the standing desks now. So if I want to be like those, like, I can now like put my desk at like the same height as my favorite like CS2 player. I don't really think that's gonna make me like code better or shoot better if I am to play video games in the office, but yeah, cool, great. We just don't have that much file cabinet space anymore, which is kind of annoying because now I just have a whole like like slew of boxes just like next to like my desk. So I gotta go take care of that. Maybe it's a sign that I should have like less clutter. So that's done. Cool, great. Aces came back in town, so we helped them move. The coordination could have been better. It was just like the three of us, like Aces, myself, and Step was just, that was probably the most scuffed move that I've taken a part of. Um, yeah, it could have been a lot better, but that's how they go. It happened. School started again. The undergrads have appeared on campus once more. Tons of free food events that I probably should be, taking more advantage of, but I've just been too under a rock, I guess. That all school all starting also means the prof basically has to be back in town because he has to do like class stuff, right? So he's been poking his head in a lot more often, and he probably should be because like, the conference is like looming. Like we're approximately a month out or so. I think still more than a month out, but I figure I should have the poster like done like uh far before then, so I can figure out printing and all that stuff, and figuring out how to get it on the plane without like having it like taken away from my hands and thrown into the abyss of like what is it, checked baggage, right? Um, so yeah, that's been happening. School starting also means like another batch of kids, all that stuff. I ate the ice cream, so now like I'm a fourth year. That's kind of like the running gag, not really the running gag. I guess like this is the agenda that we're trying to spread among like the grad student body, right? Like we have like this like ice cream social at the beginning of every year, and I've kind of been to like each one like since I've been here, like I guess for like a fourth year now. Well, that's a scary thought. Like over 3 years ago, and so the it's not really a joke, but like the claim is that in order to make it to the next year, you have to eat the ice cream. So we were telling the incoming students they were like technically zeroth years, and they had to eat the ice cream in order to become the first year. We try to do it to the undergrads too, but yeah, so we ate the ice cream. We're a we're a fourth year now. Cool, great. In addition to that, we've been, partaking in the student government, right? The grad student org and all that stuff. I still need to register the org and like contact like our faculty advisor guy. Um, Gotta like coordinate things and figure things out. It is kind of strange, like being the president and stuff, because I'm not really sure like how involved I guess I should be when it comes to asking other people to do things or asking other people for their opinions, because I think like there's nothing really stopping me from just like sending emails to like the whole department and being like, "Hey guys, we're doing this, right? Like please fill out this form." But I somehow worry that like I want to run it by other people, but then like if you have to run it by other people and there's not like a dedicated like person to run it by, right? Then you're kind of waiting on like their response, and it kind of slows things down. And so currently, I've been working with like the undergraduate version, I guess, like so the undergraduate student organized, yeah, no, like the undergrad like student org, right? Physics, of course, like to try to set up some like collab events like with the undergrads. And so I want to like send out some like email to the grads asking for volunteers and all that stuff, but I want to run it by like some of the officers first before I like just go do things and then like get like panned for it later by like the officers of like, bro, you should have done this better, right? But I don't know. That's all just kind of happening. Those are responsibilities that I need to take care of. It's not really something that I have to do, right? We don't really need to collab with the undergrads. We don't have to like, be more involved with them. But it's something that I feel like I'm capable of doing, and I want to see it happen. And I think as usual, the person who the amount of effort that you put in is proportional to how badly you want it. So if you really want it that badly, and everyone else is kind of like, oh yeah, that'd be nice, but I don't really want to like spearhead it, then I guess it's like it's on to me to spearhead it, right? It's just kind of spooky because I feel like I need to set up a better system. I need to be more comfortable with like delegating people or hunting them down, and saying, "Hey, you're doing the undergrad thing now." But I'm just like the survey guy. Too bad, that's not what you signed up for. Cope. Like, you don't actually want to do that, right? Because that's like, it's not good to force yourself upon other people in like any context. But yeah, that's it's something that I got to be a little bit better at the very least, tracking people down and delegating people and saying, hey, I need you to do this for me. Can you get it done by so-and-so? And then hopefully saying yes, and then checking up on them and making sure they follow through. Leadership is hard. Leadership is hard. There's probably going to be, I'm sure that this will be a recurring theme over the next year, is like I try to make sure that I do at least as good of a job as like the last like two presidents. Where were we? Office move in, year 4, ice cream, helped Aces move, been doing a lot of like this like student government stuff. We had the year 4 party. We were initially planning on making burgers on like Step's newly bought portable grill. But we kind of got like rained on, or it was raining in the afternoon, and so we got scared. But then by the time everyone showed up, the rain was gone. But by that point in time, I'd already put the log of like minced meat in the freezer, so it's like, well, shucks, we'll just have to put this to use some other time. We ordered pizza; it was all right. We continued the 1 minute, 1 slide presentations from last year. I made a continuation of my like, let's go gambling MS Paint thing. So I'd say it was pretty well received. So that was cool. And I guess just this weekend, before that, the office now has like a third person in addition to like in the past it was just me and I'm gonna call him Retro, right? Like he's like older than me. I think is he a 5th year or a 6th year now? I don't know. He's old. Don't worry about it. He's pretty cool. We have a new guy. Can't really think of an alias for him, so we're just gonna wait and see. I guess what happens. He'll probably be a reoccurring member as well, as I figure he's one of Prof's first years, or well now second years. So I figure I'll be interacting with him more often, given that like we have the same advisor and all that. Although he's doing something pretty different from me. Anyhow, yeah, that happened, and yeah, just this weekend, some of the cohort guys, it was me, Step, Scout, and another guy who I got to make an alias for on the spot. I'm gonna call him Calm, just because he's very soft spoken. He's rather quiet. Yeah, like the 4 of us like did like some like road trip, like big drive out to like New Orleans. So that was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Got to hang out and see some stuff. I got to admit, it's a bit of a bad friend. We were like hanging outside like the Cafe Du Monde and like the French Quarter, and like Steph and I were just like hanging out waiting on like Scout and Calm to get out of the restroom, and some guy came up to us and tried to make small talk, shook our hands, made like a joke about like, I know where your shoes are from, they're on the soles of your feet, right? And then he whipped out some toothpaste looking thing and applied onto Steph's shoes, and I guess I recognized that it was a scam. I was like, oh, I'm getting the hell out of here. But I just kind of like I had just left like Steph out to hang. I just left him out to dry, and yeah, he ended up coughing up a substantial amount of money in cash. So I don't know. I feel like as soon as I didn't think he was like the guy who was trying to rip us off or trying to pull like the scam on us, and by the time I noticed, it was too late, and I didn't do a good job. I probably should have like tried to drag Step out of there as well, but I was not a good friend. That was pretty bad of me. I can't say necessarily not my finest moment. Maybe this is maybe I'll bring this up later some in the audio. But yeah, I think that covers all the major events. There are things to do. There's like student government stuff to handle. We're back at the office. So that's cool. There's academics to take care of, and yeah, places to go, people to see. Anyhow, what's been on your mind? I don't know. Like, well, I do know. I just gotta sit down and level myself. Right, we're jittering pretty hard at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Right. This is actually take two. First take, I think I just like got up and quit. So after a glass of water and breathing a little, I feel a little calmer. um, so I don't really know what the title is going to be, but I feel like it has to like tie into like how I'm perceived by other people, or how I want to be perceived by other people, and how I perceive myself. I've recently, a recent phrase that's been going around in the head has been, I need to live a more serious life. And yeah, okay, sure, but what do you mean by this? What does it mean to live a more serious life? Does that just mean you are more disciplined, you take better care of yourself? Like, what exactly constitutes a serious life? And I think like it's about how I see things and how I do. Well, yeah, sure, it's how you do things. Who would have thought, right? But it's something about like just being more responsible, and not just being more responsible, but also like giving the impression that you're more responsible to other people as well. Like right now, I think my current like role, like my current like yeah, my current ecological role in the social dynamic and the social ecosystem that is society, uh, is the funny guy, right? A lot of it is just kind of making a lot of jokes, usually at my own expense, talking about how I'm still working on a lot of things, or how like I can have some goofy moments, right? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I gave myself food poisoning like a few days ago because I left rice in the fridge for bit too long. It was in one of those takeout containers, and so I figure like unlike the normal airtight containers that I put my stuff in, like those takeout containers have enough airflow to where bad stuff can build up. So I ate some of that. I think like what, Wednesday night, and then I woke up Thursday morning, was feeling pretty bad. Basically had a bad time on the throne, and then puked up. What I ate last night, and yeah, it was just overall pretty unpleasant. Like I present stuff like that in a rather like, look at this guy, what's he doing? Is he an idiot? Right? And it's I don't know. I guess this is just like second nature now. It's just kind of like how I do things. I guess, and maybe this isn't something that people normally do because like, why would you want to talk about your own shortcomings, right? And why would you want to? Um, it also just might be it might just be TMI in general, right? So that's like another one. Like, well, what's this guy doing? But a lot of my like conversation starters, or a lot of my conversations in the cohort, or among like people who I know, usually seems to be like a lot of self-deprecating humor, right? And that's like, it's not bad, like I think it's gotten me pretty far at this point. It's just kind of like the thing that I do, and I don't mind it, right? Because it does get the conversation going, because like then some people can chime in. It's like, what do you mean you do things like this? And then I can be like, what do you mean, what do I mean, right? And then we can like banter back and forth, and everyone else can kind of like laugh along, or maybe like get like a foot in, and it's nice, right? Like it creates a pretty like lighthearted, lively atmosphere, and I like that I'm able to do this. I like that I'm capable of doing this, but I don't think this like accurately it doesn't accurately reflect like how I am, I guess, when I'm alone, when the music stops, like how I actually perceive myself. There's a sharp contrast between how I portray myself in like to other people versus like, or well, other people in like the general setting versus like, I guess, how I see myself, the self narrative, right? It's not to say that I don't try to be like candid in front of other people, right? Like I certainly do open up, and there are times where like Steph and I just kind of like hang out in his car, like maybe I guess on my like my request, right? And we just like talk about things, or I just kind of like speak my mind, and it does sound like quite similar to a Greenhorn video, but I wish that the version of myself that I present, I guess, in front of the general crowd is a little bit closer to how I actually see myself and the things that I need to overcome. But that's like a really there's a large separation between that, and it's just doing that. I think seems to be like an art form that I have yet to be fully accustomed to. There's so many like points, like there's so many. It's hard to find like a starting point, but I'll try to. Yeah, let's try to start like about a month ago. About a month ago, like this was before like last audio was recorded. um, Step and I were having like one of the many conversations in like his car, and I was talking about like how it's like difficult to voice like how it's difficult to talk about like hardships or things that I'm like still working on in regards to like with other people, right? And he was talking about how it's generally not like good form to talk about like your struggles because or well okay no no hang on we're not trying to slander him here like mm, it's not good to talk about like it's not good to trauma dump. Maybe this is like a good starting point. Trauma dumping is bad, right? It's not good to go up to some guy and be like, "Oh my God, there's so much stuff that I have to work on, and I'm so overwhelmed. What am I supposed to do?" Like I don't think I'm gonna make it out of this, right? Like it's not good to do that because like the other person is just gonna look at you and be like, "Oh man, like oh, I'm really sorry to hear that," and uh, like how am I supposed to comfort him, right? Like it's really difficult to, you know, what do you do in that situation, right? Like because what like you can't make things better for them, right? And you just kind of have to be there for them. And although like you don't mind being there for them, right? It's ideally like um, I don't want to necessarily like be a burden to my friends, right? And I don't like with this interaction perhaps it only gives them like just makes them be concerned for me, and that's like although it's good that they care for me, right, to where they'll be concerned for me. um, I don't really want to, make people worry, right? And this is what Step was voicing. I was like, yeah, yeah, I don't want to make people worry, right? Like, so he's like generally rather more reserved, I guess. Like he only really, yeah, like it's not good to like open up about all your problems in front of everyone that you meet, right? Um, but at the same time, like it's weird to try to present yourself as someone who like doesn't have any problems. And yeah, I know it's not like black and white. There's obviously nuances to it, and there's like certainly like a give and take, right? When it comes to like hanging out like with the undergrads and talking with the or throwing math at the undergrads and talking about like the things that's going on, I've certainly been open with it. I've recently like been a bit more like not I think I've always been pretty genuine, but I've been like a bit more candid. Is that the right word? I guess like not sincere. Like I've just opened up more in front of like the two undergrads. Also, shout out I guess to either Sport or Rogue if you're watching. I told you guys like you'd make it in here somehow. So hey, here you go. Um, but I feel like it's a little different, I guess, because like in some ways I'm not as willing to be like as open with them as I am with like Step because like they're my kids, right? And it's I figure it's not the best of me to say this, but a father shouldn't cry in front of his son, right? If he does, that's like a display of weakness, which is it's totally fine to be weak. It's just that you don't really want to. You still want like your kids to like believe in you, that to show that like you're capable of doing things. And I guess like this is kind of in some ways I'm tying this back to like the conversation with Step, right? Because Step was kind of talking about how like it's not good to it's not good to like come off as a burden. You want to make sure that like your friends like it's always great to like have people to have your back whenever like things really hit the fan, but um, ideally you never want to be a burden for other people. Yeah, that's true, right? And so I want to like be like someone who's a bit more capable, but at the same time, like I don't really. I think it's still good to voice your problems to people, right? But at the same time, I want to be able to do it in a fashion that doesn't really make them feel like they have to feel bad for me, right? I guess like in my mind, I'm not sure like how hard I'm coping when I say this, but I feel like whenever I voice my issues to other people, I still have enough of like belief in myself that I can, overcome with like not the power of friendship, but just like with like persistence, right, and resilience. And I think like what makes it nice to see people like talk about it's like for my mind, like if I had someone like me who would like go up to me and talk about all the things that are going on in their life and like all the hardships or all the maybe not hardships or just like irks and general like bumps in the road, right, that they were kind of encountering, um, and yet like despite all of that they still persist. I feel like that's like a pretty I think that's pretty admirable. But I do admit like perhaps like my delivery, right, makes it my delivery and also like how other people see me might not allow me to give people the impression that it's like, oh well, you know, Green's certainly got a lot of things like that he's got to work on, but like he's still making it through in the end, and I trust that he can make it through because he's Green, right? I don't think I haven't gotten to the point to where I give people that impression, right? Currently, it's just kind of like Green's always like doing some like goofy stuff, and he's always kind of tripping over himself. What a hooligan! But we love him still, right? Like it's kind of like that, and I don't mind that. It's just it's not if you want to like be a leader, you want to be someone who like is capable of taking care of other people and like seeing things through. And if you want to be a responsible person, you want to like go out and do things. We can't really have like this. We can't have this narrative, associated to us. And yeah, I know I can't control it entirely, but I think there's certainly some things that I can do with like how I phrase things, how I talk to people, and I can hopefully like change that for the better. But it's just been on the mind. Like the serious life is not just like how other people see me, but it's also how I conduct myself, right? And I guess it's like how I choose to interact with other people. I still think it's good to be capable of making yourself the butt of the joke and like doing all this stuff, right? I don't think like the goal is just to simply become like, or well, it would be nice to like get to a point to where it's like, you always stand and you never fall, you never bleed, you never cry, right? But I don't think that's realistic, right? Like eventually at some point you will find yourself vulnerable, you will find yourself weak or like defeated momentarily. And that point in time, it's important to recognize that at least for now I'm beat, but I still need to get back up and I still have to keep going, right? But you still have to be able to know, I guess, like to be able to admit that you're down, especially to people who you know, because it's not honest to um, give people the impression that like you never fall down and you never stumble. But at the same time, it feels like I need to be a bit better when it comes to talking about stumbling because I don't want people to think that I'm like not taking myself seriously or like I'm just like always like I'm just like a klutz, right? Don't get me wrong, there's certainly stuff that I could do better. I shouldn't be giving myself food poisoning. I should be, waking up earlier. I should like have a better sleep schedule. I should have a better like exercise schedule. I should probably be doing a better job like handling interactions with the undergrads. I should probably be doing a better job with research. I should probably be showing up to, all these like other commitments more often and all this stuff, right? There's certainly all these things to work on. And it would be dishonest to not express like that these are all the things that I still need to handle, right? But it just seems that the way that I do it right now, like the presentation is just seemingly painting me like in a way that I don't really want to be seen as. Just because I guess like I want to build towards someone who's a bit more like someone who can be dependent on, right? I want to be dependable. I want people to be able to trust like, me with things, right? Like I can put the team on my back and like carry them because I think that's like I don't know. I guess like it's just something that I want to be both capable of doing and also have people count on me for stuff like this. It's things like these that kind of make me feel good, right? But it seems that we're not there just yet, right? Currently, it just kind of feels like we're an unserious character. We're a comical character. It feels like from an outsider perspective, it seems that like I'm always kind of like forgetting all the things that are going on and missing a bunch of things or showing up late, and it's just like not. It's just not good, Like it's although it can be funny and like maybe like a little bit like, haha, comic relief. Like I don't think the life that I live. I don't think the world that we live in is a necessarily like a sitcom or like a slapstick. I feel like the world that we live in is a more serious one. Um, Not like, well, I guess I say we, I mean like myself still, but it's in the. There are a lot of things that don't really go away, you know. You can't just close your eyes and it just magically disappears. There's still work to be done. There's still a career to secure, or well, a career to fight for more so. There's still a lot of things happening back home and a lot of things that we have to realize. I think the world, like, you can't take your life, you have to take your life seriously because that's just how things are, right? Like, problems don't just magically go away whenever you just choose to, like, not worry about them or not think about them, right? And there's still all this stuff to overcome. And I think I would be doing myself and my father and all my predecessors before me a disservice if I were to just, like, pretend that all of this is just a joke and none of this really matters, right? So I think it's important to live a serious life. Although, once again, I don't really know what I fully mean by this. Um, Problems don't go away. There's still things to take care of, and I think it's like I have to live like in a manner that like recognizes that the problems are still there, and it's like that they're always there. I need to where am I going with this? We're tripping over our words again. We just have to be, like aware of these things, like at all times. This is certainly ideal, right? There's going to be times where like I forget about it either because there's like other stuff to do, or maybe I just decide to really kick back. But I need to escape less, I don't think I've been escaping too much. I feel like, if I stay up late, you're like only partially escaping and that you're not doing work, but like the pressure, the reminder that there's all these things to do is certainly like is present. But I don't know. I feel like I just have to be better, right? Just do the things better, forehead. Um, I don't know. I think I've covered all the bases. Not too bad for take two. So hope next audio sooner as always. But yeah, all right, future me. See you soon. Till then.